Hello, this is Cryptolyze. I hope you are well. See you Tuesday, February 6th, 2024. We're meeting today to talk about BNB, Binance's crypto. So as usual, we are going to divide this video into two parts. A fundamental part, we will come back to what BNB is, what Binance is, what the BNB chain is, which is Binance's native blockchain. And then, we will go to the graphs to project ourselves in the short, medium, long term on purchase prices and sale prices. And we start right away by talking about Binance. So, if you don't know Binance, it's because you certainly haven't been in cryptos for a long time, because Binance is the leader in exchanges, even if there has been a big step back for some time. That does not prevent it from being the leader in terms of volume, in terms of liquidity, in terms of generic users at the level of the different exchanges. We are not far from 45 in market supply, therefore on all current markets, and we will continue to evolve. There, the screen dated from 168 days before the halving. That's why I kept it. There, I made a new screen this morning. We are at 72 days, and we can see the evolution from the number of users. We took 25 million users. And what is interesting to see is that Binance, in terms of its homepage, does not change. In terms of its dynamics, does not change. Currently, we still have the same structure, with users, so social proof, example, halving an application. And we have exactly the same thing historically, and it has hardly changed over the different years. There are some fluctuations depending on the typology, the weather, is it Christmas, not Christmas, etc. But all in all, we always remain in the same perspective. And they always have communication that is solid, despite the complexities they have had in the news, which we will come back to in a few moments. In terms of exchanges, we have something which is rather classic, in which we have all the specific functionalities of an exchange. We have a very large launchpad which allows the launch of crypto, apart from when we have BNB, and they are focused on Trust Wallet, which is their wallet, and they made a big announcement that they were launching an MPC wallet, so in which you do not need to remember the seed phrase to be able to interface and own all these cryptos. Besides, BNB and Binance are obliged to talk about BSC, formerly BSC. Now it is called BNB Chain, which is the blockchain which is financed by Binance, and in which BNB is directly linked. We are going to have the BNB chain, which is a very well-known ecosystem in terms of decentralized finance, because at the time we had Ethereum, which was overloaded with fees. We had the BNB and Binance, which had launched the BNB chain, which made it possible to have decentralized finance at very low cost. And it was very interesting. Currently at the level of the max supply, we are below 155 million BNB. It is decreasing because there is a burn which is carried out per quarter systematically at the platform level. And at the technology level, we have a level 1 blockchain which is structurally classic, and in which we have optimism. We have ZK. So it means that we have the two best technologies which arrive in the notion of scaling, which is rather positive. And yes, the BNB chain continues to evolve. At the moment on several things: 1, the technology they use; 2, it will be decentralization. They went from 20 validators to 40, and over the year 2024 we have quite a few things that are in progress. Getting ready. Firstly, we will have decentralization, which will go from 40 to 100. We will have a desire to increase security. We will have a desire to optimize the EVMs. EVM being the virtual machine which is used to execute the decentralized application that you use on the blockchain. It will improve, it will reduce fees and potentially everything that revolves around them. And they want to have enormous scalability with transaction fees at 0.1, so really very low and almost no limit in terms of transactions per second, which would be just impressive for a blockchain like BNB chain. And what's interesting to see is that BNB moved from Tendermint, which was the Cosmos SDK, so the development kit offered by Cosmos when it launched, something that is really specific to BNB chain and the development that is carried out by Binance. Afterwards, the advantage is that it is much simpler to be able to develop precisely because we have a big company behind it, and we are not really in decentralization and pure and hard security as we could have it in other blockchains. We have something that is between the two, between the decentralized, which is not too much, and the centralized society, which is not too much. So we are really between the two, and it is the product of the BNB chain, and that is the goal of the BNB chain. It is not to offer something that is decentralized. This is something that is very scalable, at low cost to be able to build decentralized finance and allow Binance to have volume linked mainly to the BNB chain as well, and its accessibility through Binance. In terms of the technical part, very interesting to see this accumulation phase that we have had historically. A big acceleration phase with Binance gaining dominance. And currently we are in a form of retracement which was carried out in two stages. ABC with the establishment of a Wyckoff distribution BC, Arkansas, ST, SAO, with the sign of weakness which is found here. Very important to note is that during the entire bear market crisis we remained at the lowest level, which was made on June 15 on Celsius. And as a result we are holding this period there, and we remain in a form of accumulation of Wyckoff. Despite also the legal complexities that we can have at the level of Binance, whether it is the conviction of CZ, potentially CZ will go to prison to pay $150 million in fine. We have Binance, which paid $4-5 billion in fines to the American state, and now Binance is under American control for the next 5 years. Understand that this is a very, very big risk for the data that is on Binance because Binance has overlapped in the last 3-4 years. A lot of transactions, a lot of launch pads, a lot of deals that have been made with other crypto projects, and I think that the SEC will and is currently enjoying itself. And that is perhaps one of the reasons for which we will be able to see Binance, which will lose market share in the years to come because they are under American control, which they cannot exercise in America. Binance US is prohibited from entering the USA, and therefore inevitably we will have a complexity to be able to always maintain hegemony if we do not manage to have the American market. And if we are still under American control in which we cannot do transactions, we cannot make products as we wish, we have to go through validation from a tutor. Next to that, we therefore find ourselves technically in an accumulation which is very interesting because we have held the very strong levels of $200. We can clearly see that during this entire period of August and October 2023, before to have the acceleration that we were able to experience, we have another phase of accumulation which is found here, and the acceleration of October. And that's where it's interesting to see is that BNB at the base is something that is very volatile on the upside, right? Which is very resilient to the decline. The proof, we see it clearly, that we held the 200 well, whatever happened. On the other hand, we were basically on a BNB which was very strong when we moved to an acceleration phase. This is not the case. We can clearly see that BNB over the last 3 months of the year 2023, where all the other cryptos broke out on the rise, BNB did not even not broken the top that was made from 340 here in the period of Miminus 2023, okay? So we haven't broken this zone, we're holding below it, so that means that potentially we can stay in a range for a relatively long time at the BNB level. And here I think it's also mainly linked to the impact of what happened on Binance US, the impact on CZ. CZ was someone very important for Binance. He was an ambassador for Binance. Currently, this is no longer the case, and so we will see in the years to come how Binance will manage to maintain its leading position. And how will they manage to keep the monopoly in terms of liquidity? Because this is Binance's big strength. It is that they have the largest pool of liquidity currently because they have a lot of users. What will happen in 2-3 years? Is there really going to be a loss of users, a loss of liquidity? Personally, I tend to tell you that I think so at the level of Binance Exchange. On the other hand, I think that BNB chain, which is the blockchain, the tech, is advancing very quickly. And I even think that we could see something happen that would be different from what we currently know with precisely the BNB chain, where we would have a decentralization which would come to an end, and a technology which was developed structurally strong because it was pushed by a rather private domain and not open source, and which would subsequently become open source gradually. It could be interesting to see this approach, and it would also accelerate research on blockchain and inevitably its adoption subsequently. In terms of perspectives, what can we set for ourselves? On this, we could necessarily set Wave 1, Wave 2, Wave 3 Elliotist to have the objective of 1,618 rather classic and to have a BNB in the region of $1,200. On the other hand, it is important to remember that we have very busy news at the level of Binance, and in terms of the impact that it has on BNB, it is very strong. We know that BNB is linked to Binance, so we have to be careful in the coming years. Are we really going to have an outperformance of Binance and BNB, or are we going to have something which will stabilize and which will not necessarily go higher, or in any case have objectives like that? And that's why you need to control your strategy carefully and stay up to date as often as possible. That's why we set up 2 things for free. 1, my investment guide, 30 pages to know when to buy, when to sell, and how to structure your strategy. It's in comments and descriptions. And 1 weekly newsletter in which you find all the information and technical analysis. So really condense it into 5 minutes once a week in your mailbox, in description and in comments too, and it's 100 free. I hope you liked this video. If so, don't forget to leave me a like and a comment. It always makes me very happy. It supports the work that I do every day. And we will see you soon for a new video.